Damien Chazelle returns to a very different La La Land in Babylon about the early years of the Hollywood film industry. Chrissy's going to tell us about it.
Yikes. It's just a giant elephant pooping in your face for 3 hours and 8 minutes straight. Kinda. A lot of it is, there is some artistry, but hard to shake that initial scene and the way that it sort of sets the tone for everything to come.
Where do you say we come in for my close-up now?
So, yeah, if you've not subscribed to us yet, you get incisive film commentary like this. Now's a great time.
Poop you can handle.
Right. Now's a great time during award season, whether you like Babylon or not, and it's going to be very divisive. I can't imagine that it won't figure somehow into some award stuff here and there. It is Damien Chazelle, after all.
You'll see it on 10 best lists and 10 worst lists this year, I'm sure.
Which, in theory, makes it interesting.
I suppose. Better than not.
Right. So please join us throughout award season by subscribing to us here at Breakfast All Day. We'd love to see you and hear your thoughts as well. So, yes, the year is 1926. There's this giant house on a hill in Bel Air where there's this extravagant party that is happening. And the whole beginning of it is like this orgy, this wild, drunken, sexual bacchanal. I love that word, bacchanal.
Isn't it good?
Bacchanalia, debauchery. And Margot Robbie plays this aspiring starlet named Nellie Leroy. Nellie Leroy! I'm like the king, Nellie Leroy. And she's from New Jersey, but she has these dreams of stardom, and she knows she's a star. So she crashes this party, and Diego Calva is like this kind of hanger-on, aspiring to get into movies, and they sort of forge this bond where they sneak into the party together, and she's, the hot, wild mess at the center of attention, and ends up getting
a mountain of cocaine.
Right, there's so much cocaine in this movie. I can't recall who it is, whether you told me this or whether I read it somewhere, but someone compared this movie to Magnolia. And it wasn't me. I see that in that it is 3 hours long and there's a lot of whip pans and a lot of cocaine. But that also makes me question my love of Magnolia.
If anything, I was thinking about another Anderson movie about Inherent Vice, in that the way that Inherent Vice made you feel like you were high because you couldn't follow what was going on.
Yeah.
This movie kind of makes you feel like you're on cocaine because it's so
like frantic. Anyway, so it follows her and it follows Brad Pitt, who is this longtime star named Jack Conrad. As movies are going from the silent era to the talkies, he finds that his place in the hierarchy in Hollywood is slipping, and sort of covers a lot of the same ground as many, many other movies that are superior in terms of this pivotal point in Hollywood history, namely Singing in the Rain. And repeatedly invoking Singing in the Rain does not do Babylon any favors.
No, it does not.
You also have Jean Smart as this kind of Hedda Hopper figure. She is this gossip columnist who is just seemingly everywhere. She's
part Hedda Hopper and part Eleanor Glynn.
Okay.
Who wrote it, and she was on the yacht when Hearst shot that guy and all that stuff.
So, and also kind of follows Jovan Adepo as this black jazz trumpeter, and what his place is in the world as he tries to go from being a musician to also an actor, and how black actors were treated at this time. It feels very tangential, and the movie ends up doing to him what is done to his character, which is defining him pretty much solely by his race.
It also marginalizes the sort of Anime Wong stand-in character, who's a lesbian singer and actress played by Lee Jun Lee. The two characters, apart from Diego Calva, but the other two characters of color are very much sort of like, oh yeah, and then this person did that, and like they're strewn along, but they don't really do much with them.
Right. In a 3 hour and 8 minute long movie, there is not enough room or time to develop them as full-fledged human beings. So once this settles down, right, and becomes about the actual act of movie making, it can be electrifying. It can be a lot of fun. There's a whole segment on this kinescope set where like 8 different movies are being made at once. And like,
Right.
that's a lot of fun. And watching the craft of it and like the exuberant and kind of messy, let's put on a show element of it can be a lot of fun. There are some strong scenes here and there, like where Margot Robbie gets to really show that this character can act, you know,
Yes.
and Brad Pitt is, you know, irresistible as this kind of womanizing cad who is, you know, grappling with the fact that he's past his prime. You know, the Mary Zophres costume design, you know, I did have a question though. How does the dress stay on Margot Robbie throughout the whole orgy scene when double-sided tape didn't exist in 1926? Anyway, this spans like a 6-year period. It hits 26 and then like 28 and then like 30 and then 32. It's just a mess. Like it's this interminable slog of a movie that is never as edgy as it thinks it is. Like Damien Chazelle's idea of, you know, wild, orgiastic rage feels kind of tame. I mean, there's a literal elephant in the room.
This feels like a movie about movies by someone who doesn't like movies, and a movie about decadence by someone who doesn't like decadence.
That's a really good point. And then like it invokes all these other movies eventually.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, as if we hadn't gotten this is his love letter to cinema. We've had so many love letters to cinema this year.
Right?
And this might be my least favorite. And I loved La La Land and I really liked Whiplash.
Yeah, First Man. I've been on board, with the possible exception of Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench. I've been on board with Chazelle his entire career. And this movie just left me so cold and so irritated by it. And yeah, the best things it has to offer feel like they're borrowed from other places. Mm-hmm. The movie actually, I think its best moments are when it like slows down and calms down a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a great scene towards the end where Gene Smart is telling a has-been movie star, like the facts of what's next, which I thought was really great. There's a great wordless scene with Jovan Adepo where he has to like make a choice about a thing that he's being asked to do in these movies. And those to me carried so much more weight than all the, you know, and then like, you know, the ending, there's 2 endings back to back that are ridiculous that really annoyed the hell out of me. And so speaking of borrowing from Paul Thomas Anderson, there's a whole chunk toward the end that is right out of Boogie Nights.
The whole Tobey Maguire thing. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like,
that's like a whole other movie.
Yes, exactly.
But it's also a good example of Damien Chazelle thinking like, ooh, isn't this edgy? The stuff we're going to show you in this underground realm in Los Angeles. Like, ooh, it's so dark and edgy. And it just feels like grasping desperately.
Yeah. It's like that old Onion piece about Marilyn Manson going door to door trying to shock people, you know? I mean, there's a lot of craft on display here. You know, Linus Sandgren is shooting the hell out of this, and there's so much editing and so much music and so much everything. But this is a movie that literally involves like shit, puke, piss and blood and tears. So pretty much everything that comes out of the human body is in this film in one place or another. Yeah.
And for what reason? I mean, just to shock us?
I don't know.
Especially like, you know, it's supposed to be this really warm and fond and nostalgic love letter to film, but like off the top and over again, it's an assault in a lot of ways. Like it's accosting us.
And not a good assault.
No, I don't know why. Yeah. Tom Cross edited it, who also won an Oscar for cutting Whiplash.
Right.
Oh, and I hate the score.
Yeah, no, the score is relentless.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Like it's so annoying from the very beginning, and it puts you on edge. But again, like not in a good way.
No. It's, you know, and look, I'm fine with a movie that is assaultive and that is trying to like make me feel a certain way or make me uncomfortable or unsettled or whatever in the pursuit of something. Yeah. But everything this movie is in the pursuit of is just like, I've seen this done better and more interestingly and more with more feeling in other films.
Right. Brad Pitt has some moments when the film settles down. Margot Robbie has some moments when the film settles down. Diego Calva is our conduit, and he's just like a handsome nothing.
Yeah, it's a thankless role. He's just the audience surrogate, and like we're supposed to believe that he has this unfailing love for Margot Robbie, you know, over the decades, even though it's all from like this one night of doing a bunch of coke and like one heartfelt conversation a few years later. So
Also, I thought Olivia Hamilton, who is Chazelle's wife, was really good as the director. The first day on set.
Oh, is that who that was? Oh, she's good. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. The first day on set where they have the talkies and the struggles, that whole sequence is like, I wish more of the film were like this because it is paced so perfectly and like it builds so well to its crazy climax.
But again, even that is a version of a scene that's in Singing in the Rain, but just the R-rated version.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm saying 3.4.
2.5. This movie drove me up the wall.